and because I can remember when you played the Community Shield Cup, Eberechi was there.
Yeah, he
Um,
played.
and now is he gone to Tottenham?
It sounds like he is. I think a fee, as far as the things I've read are concerned, a fee of 60 million has been agreed, which some say he should be a bit more than that. I think his the clause, the escape clause in his contract, which I think expired last week,
Right.
um, was it may have been 68 million. So if he goes for 60, well, that's still a good amount. I think most Palace fans will be disappointed because he's a bit of a talisman type player.
Mm,
He can win a game by a flash of genius,
yeah.
and yeah, I think a lot of Palace fans weren't expecting him to play last week against Chelsea at the weekend, which perhaps brings us to another element of that game, and that was
Right.
the Eze's disallowed goal.
Right.
Now, it was ridiculous, really, because when it became known that it had been disallowed, I mean, the ref announced it. As I think they're obviously going to do that from now on.
Mm,
They'll announce why VAR or whatever has disallowed a goal or allowed it. It
yeah.
was on the basis of to me, a very obscure law, football law, which came into being in 2019. And this law
Right.
basically said that in a free kick, then and the defending team produce a wall of at least three players. If it's three or more players, then there can be no one from the team that's won the free kick within within a yard or brackets. It said a meter. Well, they're two different things, but that's perhaps being a bit pernickety. But
Mm,
within a yard, say, of the wall. Now, what happened? There was a player pushing with Gay as was lining up for the free kick, and Gay was pushing back. Now you've seen that a million times in free kicks, but anyway, Gay Eze stepped up, and I don't think he actually went through the gap where Gay had sort of pushed the other guy a bit. It was
mm,
kind of a bit along, but it went in like a thunderbolt. It was a
mm.
bullet of a shot. I don't know whether you saw it. It was an incredible free kick goal. And then, but I said, and lots of us said, I've never heard of this rule. Well, what is this rule that says, that the defensive wall, if it's got at least three players, none
Mm.
of the opposing team can be within a metre until the ball is in play. So, in other words, when he kicks at the point of kicking it, there's got to be this metre gap. Subsequent to that, in the same game, the referee, trying to think what his name was, I can't remember, Darren England, that's right, Darren England, when there was another similar place free kick for Palace,
Mm.
he drew a line completely different direction to when you get a free kick. With when I say drew a line with his spray,
Yeah.
it's a line so that no Palace player could come within a metre of that line. Well, that's the first. And when then later on you listen to the pundits on Match of the Day, etc., and they all said the same. We'd never heard of this rule. And of course, the rule was identified. And why have we never heard of it? Because it's never been applied. Then they showed
Oh.
actually on Match of the Day a sequence. I think it was on Match of the Day, one of the football programs over the weekend or Sunday night, a sequence of free kick goals where exactly the same things were happening. There was no application of that rule at
Oh.
all. And I mean, Jeff Stelling, who used to do Sky on a Saturday afternoon, and he's on talk. And he's on Talk Sport, a very respected football man. He and Ali McCoist used to be a great Scottish footballer, and he's a commentator pundit. They were both saying this has got to be scrapped, that rule.
Mm.
This is what I said at the time, because surely if you get a free kick fairly close to the edge of the penalty area and
Mm.
they form a wall, the advantage surely should be with the attacking team who've been given the free kick. I mean, it was a foul against them. So a
Yeah.
bit like a penalty, you don't make it harder for them to benefit from that free kick. And given that it's a law, it's a rule which has never been applied,
Right. Yeah.
and I don't think anyone, they've obviously searched their archives, I don't think a single TV company, BBC, ITV, Sky, have been able to find one. It's just not been applied. And
Mm.
what was therefore a perfectly good goal was ruled out, which actually could have meant Palace won the game. It was in the first half. It finished 0-0, so it was a good result for Palace, really. The co-commentator Chris Sutton said he felt Palace had deserved to win and would have won, assuming we hadn't conceded, but for that wretched free kick. Now, my opinion is as well that if there is a rule, a new rule, and there have been one or two this season, you may know that if a goalkeeper hangs on to the ball for 8 seconds, he's given away a corner to the opposition. And that happened in one of the matches at the weekend.
Yeah.
So, and they highlight these changes of rule or whatever as the season starts. The refs explain it to the managers, to the teams, they go around, etc. There was no mention of this rule, as I understand it, to any Premier League team or any other team, such that I guess possibly in other games, other divisions, even in the Premier League, another ref wouldn't have even disallowed the goal because he would have not perhaps known of that particular rule. So the fact they didn't warn teams that this is now applicable, again, is another reason why the goal really should have been allowed in the absence of that advice. So it is very sad, really, because, there's enough going into too much detail with VAR. Sometimes it's a good thing. So, I mean, they were involved in this as well, but ultimately I think it was the referee's decision. And that kind of decision spoils the game. That should be one goal in Eze's locker that he scored, amongst many others, which would register in his mind for years. What a great goal! It was like a bullet, a rocket going into the goal. A goal he had no chance, and it's not. He can't ever think that was a great goal, and Palace fans either. So that was a real controversial talking point from that game.
Yeah.
And I still think it's appalling that was not allowed, in the sense that rule has never been.